Hello there, welcome to Create and Craft with Artisan. I'm Susie and it's lovely to have you with us. Today I'm going to show you how to make some really beautiful beads purely from recycled paper and recycled cardboard. Let's get stuck in. You're going to need some old flyers or magazines or some bits of cereal box or any thin card or colourful paper or even plain paper if you would rather. You're going to need a skewer or something similar, some kind of stick. You're going to need some Vasaline or lip salve or anything that's a bit like that, and some PVA glue and a paintbrush. And if you want your beads to be a bit shiny and waterproof at the end, then you're going to need some varnish as well. But that's not strictly necessary because you can just use more PVA over the top. You're also going to need a ruler and some scissors or a craft knife if you're over 16. So first thing you're going to want to do is get your flyer or your cereal box, and with your ruler draw a long thin triangle up and down in a zigzag all over your paper or your card. You can probably see that a little bit more easily on this cereal box here, and that is going to create a conical or a rounded shaped bead. Now if you want just a tubular bead, then you could just do a straight strip and that would work absolutely fine. But if you want your bead to be rounded like this or like these ones, then it needs to be a long thin triangle, and the base of your triangle where it's widest is the centre of your bead, and you're going to wind it all the way along and that becomes the very outermost point of your bead. So if you want small beads, then that'll be absolutely fine. This one here will give you still quite a small bead but slightly chunkier, and if you want this sort of size of bead, then you will need a cereal box opened out all the way along, and you're going to want to draw your triangles all the way from one side to the other and back again, and that will give you a lovely long strip of colour to make your bead. The great thing about using cereal boxes is that they've got all these beautiful colours on. Other cereals are available, and it just means that you're rescuing all of that colour that would have otherwise gone in the bin. All being recycled, but even so, when paper is recycled, all that colour is lost, and it's such a shame because these colours are made from pigments that are dug out of the earth or chemicals that have been put together in laboratories, and you know, all of that is then just lost when we throw it away, and that's the world resources going down the bin, and we can save that and use it again. So it's one of the reasons I love using these recycled materials. So let's start with some of these pieces of magazine that we cut earlier. So I've got a waterproof surface on my table here, but what you're probably going to want to do is to put some newspaper down. First thing you want to do, however, is get your skewer and your Vasaline or your lip salve. If you've got a lip salve, you can just go backwards and forwards on it like that. If you've got Vasaline, just get a bit on your fingers like that and just cover the skewer with the Vasaline, and that is so that your beads don't just get stuck to it, because otherwise all you'll end up with is a very beautifully decorated skewer covered in beads that won't ever come off. So that is absolutely fine. Get a little bit of napkin here just to wipe the Vasaline off my fingers. Lovely. And we're ready to go. So it's a good idea to put glue on 3 of these strips at a time, and that's so that the first one will have had time for the glue to soak in before you start winding it. And that just means that the glue is going to just soften it up a bit, and that's particularly important if you are using the cereal boxes, because they're quite thick and you want some time for the glue to really soak into that card and make it nice and easy to work with. So there we go, we've put glue on our first 3 strips. Now we're going to take our skewer that we've covered in Vasaline and start rolling, and I'm simply going to fold that around the edge of my skewer like that, and then just roll, and that is easier to do down on a tabletop than in mid-air. So here we go. Starting it is the trickiest bit. Once it's started though, it's nice and easy, and then you just keep rolling it like this and you will find that you get a beautiful bead. So just keep going. And if you wanted to use plain paper, you could do, and then you could just paint them at the end and give them the colours that you want. So there we go, that is finished, and you can see there that is a perfectly formed bead, and I can see that also it's not sticking to my skewer. It's good to just check that. And let's just do one more, and then you just keep going until you have filled the whole of your skewer. Okay, so you can see I've got a couple of beads on there, and that's exactly how these ones on my wrist here have been made. So when those are done, I can just give them a coat of varnish and use them as beads. Now, let's just have a go with the cereal box, and you'll be able to see how much chunkier an effect you get. So, like I was saying before, you want to put glue on 3 strips at once, because that will allow the glue time to soak in. So by the time you start rolling your first one, it'll be nice and soft, and so on. And by the time you get to your 3rd strip, if you are finding that the glue has started to dry a little bit, just give it another coat. That's absolutely fine. You can't really put too much glue on these. You can just go for it and put on as much as you like, and that will be great. So I've got 2 medium-sized strips there and a longer one as well. These are my favourite, I have to say. So let's just do one of these. So first thing you want to do is really kind of bend it at the top there to make sure it's going to go around your stick nice and easily, and then start to roll. Like I say, starting it off is the trickiest bit, but once it's got going, then it will go on really easily. And if you find it a bit tricky with a cereal box, maybe just stick to flyers or thinner paper. You can even use newspaper. In Uganda, where I spent a lot of time in the past, they make fabulous paper beads just from newspaper. So it's just the same theory, and they cut a lovely, very, very long strip right the way across the whole of the newspaper and create beautiful beads that way. And the nice thing about newspaper is that, of course, it dyes beautifully. Just like the plants that we made in last week's video, these are all made from newspaper just dyed with food colouring, and you can get really beautiful, bright, vibrant colours. So there you go. You can see that finished bead, and that's just from a width of the height of my cereal box, as it were. And that's given me that lovely chunky bead like that. And then if I wind the really long one, you'll be able to see what kind of effect we can get with that. That's just going on very nicely now. Needed to put plenty of glue on that one to get it to be soft enough to work with. And there we go. And once it's on there, you can manipulate it around a bit with your fingers until you're happy that it's nice and central on your skewer. There we go. And one of the nice things about these is if you look really carefully, you can sometimes see little tiny bits of text still visible on your cereal box. So when you look at these ones over here that have been made in Ecuador and Peru, you can see tiny bits of Spanish on them, which I think is really rather lovely. So there we go. There is our finished, really lovely chunky bead. And as you can see, we've got all the lovely colours of the cereal box showing on that one. So when you have completely filled your skewer with your beads, get another skewer and carry on until you've got enough beads to make a bracelet or a necklace or whatever it is that you want to make. And then just get yourself a piece of polystyrene or a cardboard box or something, and just shove that in there like that and leave it to dry. Should be dry in a few hours, or certainly by the next day, and you can either slide that off and use it straight away just as it is, or you can give it another coat of PVA over the top to seal it. Or if you want your beads to be a bit shinier or to last for a really long time like these ones, then you want to give them a coat of varnish. And the best way to do that is just to leave them on the skewer, put the varnish on them, again slide them about a bit so you know they haven't stuck, and leave them on there to dry. And you'll then be able to thread them. A varnish like this is really great because it's water-based, but it will be waterproof when it is actually dry. And you can see here some of the beads that we've made earlier. These ones are made from, it was actually a soap box, and then over here we've got some more, and these ones have been made from a cereal box. And then I'm simply going to get some elastic like this and thread them through my beads. And if you wanted to, you could space them out like they've done here with these ones in Ecuador with a little wooden spacer bead. So Super simple, super effective, and you can have great fun with recycling all sorts of things around your home into beautiful jewellery, and you can make fabulous presents for your family and friends, and it'll cost you almost nothing. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you want to see the work that's been made by our artisans in Ecuador and Peru, they're people with disabilities that we've trained and given their own workshops to, and they make fabulous things. So do have a look at our website and find out their stories there as well. And in the meantime, I really hope that you enjoy making your own beads too. Take care. Bye bye.